G'day, I'm Blxz and welcome back to Unreal World. Gonna have a little bit of a different episode today. I'm going to be doing a bit of a cooking special, just because I've been out. I think you guys may be able to hear my cat. It's a very loud cat. Anyway, I was saying I've been out. I have got a pot while I've also finished some reindeer cuts. Brilliant. I've grabbed a pot, a few vegetables, some mushrooms, and a few different turnips and things like that from far and around. So I'm ready to do a little bit of a cooking special just for the fun of it. I have slightly modified some of the recipes in the game, so you won't be able to do what I'm about to do on a vanilla install, simply because let me bring it up for a second. If you have a look at say meat soup and meat stew, normally it requires 2 pounds of raw meat. I've changed that to in the files into asterisk cut, so anything with something cut after it. In this case, a salted stag cut will fit that. So I can use my salted meat, 2 pounds of that, for example, can be used along with water and some vegetables to cook. I find this probably a little bit more realistic. I don't enjoy the fact that you can only cook with raw food that doesn't last very long, and I think that takes a lot of the fun out of the game. Also, one thing to notice, you may see this weird sort of blue background on the side here. This will change depending on if it's raining or snowing. It's been a reported bug and it will be disappearing in the next version. For the time being though, enjoy the nice blue ambience. So to start with, I am going to do, actually another thing I want to bring up is I have created a reef and beef recipe. Uses raw fish and the cuts. Again, just something I did for a little bit of fun. But so I'm going to be cooking a few different things here, and you can see I have a huge amount of foods. So I've got some mushrooms. I've got a whole bunch of different herbs and things for what are they called? For seasoning and things like that, nettle leaves and whatnot. And I also have a very special mushroom, Noadi's mushrooms. I will keep these and we'll experiment with them towards the end of the episode for a little bit of fun. Now, normally I would be able to cook up here in my fireplace, but I do need water for cooking in the pot. So soups and stews require quite a bit of water. And I had been ferrying it up with little wooden bowls, but for the most part it's actually easier to just cook by the shore. I can push one slender trunk down and make a fire here. Even though it's in the rain, I can still start the fire. So what did I want to do here? I wanted to cook, I need turnips as well. So I'll pick them up. There we go, some turnips. Let's say 9 pounds of those will do. So I'm going to cook I don't need porridge, I need flour for porridge. I have flour. Can I bake flatbread? I don't have any flour again. Let's do a meat recipe. I'll make some meat stew. I don't have 3 pounds of cuts, so let's make a meat soup. So I will use my, where are they? My 2 salted cuts. I will use my turnips for vegetables, and for seasoning I will let's do some goldenrod flowers. Use my pot for cooking. So the water is automatically taken from anything adjacent to me, and I've got the fire in front of me, so we will cook up a little bit of salted meat. In the meantime, what was I going to do? Oh, I wanted to fish, that was it. And I can't do that just here. I'm probably not going to have enough time, will I? In an hour, and I'm not going to have enough time for fish. I might get one bit of fishing in. Now, I do need to stand into the water, same as when I was doing it back on the hole in the ice. Here, this is a tile in the forest biome, and this is a tile in the water biome. and for whatever reason you can't fish unless you're standing in a water biome. So I cannot fish from here into this water, which is an absolute pain in the ass, and I do hope the developer considers fixing that at some time in the distant future. I will use my spear though. Nope. Squirrel came in, didn't catch anything in an hour, but the cooking is ready. So I had here a stag meat soup, and it's very tasty. And that's just a bit of fun with cooking. I enjoy doing that. It pumps a lot of food into a very filling meal. So from those 2 pounds of meat cuts and a little bit of veggies, I've got quite a lot of nutrition, and it's something that I can carry along with me and just eat at for a while. It'll also quench my thirst because there's a lot of water in the soup. This makes it a very convenient meal. The other thing I wanted to do was, so I've got all these different medicinal herbs, and I've been working on my herb lore, but herb lore is a very slow. I don't want all of those. I want just get 1 or 2. Herb lore is a very slow building kind of thing. It can be a very dangerous one to experiment with as well. So for example here I know that goldenrod, for example, it's completely known to me. So I can apply it topically and I'll use it. This would have been very useful when treating my wounds. You can see I've completely healed up now. But unfortunately I did not have them at the time because they weren't in season. Hopefully I'll be able to keep them in the little storage here for some time, but we will find out and we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Now the other thing is these intriguing mushrooms. I don't know what they are. You see here, you do not recognise what the intriguing mushroom might be, so I get no pop-up information on it. Now for the most part I could just go and eat them. About the majority of the mushrooms are safe-ish. About a third of them are poisonous and can be stripped of their poison, and 2 of them in particular are incredibly dangerous. If you eat them, you pretty much will die. It is possible, if you're very close to a shaman and you happen to have the right medicines, you can brew up some tea, and that will allow you to... Okay, I'm just going to empty out the soup. I know it's a bit of a waste of food, but it doesn't matter, I've got heaps of food. So the other option is, rather than just eat those mushrooms, what I am going to do is do some cooking here. I'm going to boil them first. So I don't know exactly what they are. I'm going to boil, let's say 5 of them in the pot. So they'll be ready very shortly. Okay, so what I can do here now, most mushrooms that are poisonous can have their poison removed just by boiling them. So there's a good chance, I've probably got a 1 in, well, there's about 10 or 15 different mushrooms, and 2 of those are bad, so I've got about a 1 in 7 chance of dying. So I've eaten some intriguing mushrooms. They have been poisoned, they have been boiled though, so there's a good chance if I run around a bit, nothing seems to be happening. I have not developed any poison, and turns out those mushrooms look like they're alright. The final little bit of mushroom is what's called Noadi's mushroom. Now they're a lot of fun, those mushrooms. And what I will do now is just pop a couple down. There you go, 4 mushrooms, that should be enough. And now these aren't poisonous at all. You can eat them and they'll give you a good amount of nutrition, they'll fill up some hunger, and it's a good mushroom to eat raw. There is a small downside that you need to sort of be aware of. And that is that after a while you may find yourself being affected by them. Thankfully they're not affecting me just yet. How about we wait for a while and see what happens. They're not kicking in. That's interesting. Oh, there we go. This is Noadi's mushroom. I am now hallucinating hardcore. You can see things are moving around and there's all weird sort of stuff going on. And I love these mushrooms. They don't do anything in the game. They're just a lot of fun. They allow you to go into the spirit world. When consumed in any form, it makes you fall into a trance and journey to the spirit world. So they're great to put in a stew, so you can eat dinner and then go on a little bit of trip afterwards before you head off to bed. It will wear off over time, but for the most part, it's just a little bit of fun. I enjoy it. One final thing is I have, in the meantime, built a brand new a brand new smokehouse over here. So now that those, what were they? I've got a little bit of meat here that still needs to be picked up. But in 3 more days, the last of my smoking will be moved out of this house. And I'll do everything off-site now in a little special designated area over here. Got quite a few elk cuts being done, and it's got its own little stash of firewood to keep myself going. Now, I think that's all for the episode. It was just a little bit of fun to show some cooking. If you are interested in modifying your own game, make sure to drop over to the forums and check out the modding section. It's pretty simple. You can download it, or you can just write it up yourself in the files quite easily. But I've been Blxz. This has been Unreal World, just doing a little bit of cooking, and I will see you next time. Take care. One other thing before I go. I have had a request for a name for the dog, finally. So, if I can find and target that dog in my drugged up stupor, I shall name it Auttum, Autumn or Autumn. I have no idea how to pronounce that, but I think Autumn is probably a nice name to call that dog. It is sort of autumn coloured, which is an English word for fall. The Americans use fall, but the actual word is autumn. So that's an autumn coloured dog. There you go. My dog now is called Autumn, even though the spelling is way off. It's not how you spell autumn at all. But there you go. My new dog is called Autumn. Anyway, I'll see you later.